Hello, everybody. Dave and Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. We got a good one. This is a saucy video. We have alumni, Bachelor alumni, mad at grocery store Joe for the way he commented on Kira's week 1 episode of Bachelor in Paradise, where Kira was, you know, doing what she does. She puts on the lab jacket. She says, have a look at these. And that's okay. That's all right to do. You can be a good doctor and also wear a bikini. That's fine. So Grocery Store Joe says, at least we know Kira is in it for OnlyFans and not Instagram followers. Now, we could dissect the joke all we want, but it's, you know, probably not worth trying to read too deeply into it. People would go on the show to get Instagram followers, and now some people might try to turn their clout into OnlyFans, which is perfectly fine too. A private website where you can do whatever you want, including nudity and things like that. Well, responses were not happy to it. We'll get into those. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals. I'm also going to be live on Patreon today and every weekday. Patreon.com/DaveNeal for behind-the-scenes bonus content. And of course, the only place where you'll get to see my wedding, which I'm going to be heading off to next week. If you want to check that out, yeah, we'll have the video posted over there. All right, so I'm going to share this with you, the fallout from his tweet, some of the other comments, previous videos we made, and also at the very end of this video, I'm going to share an update on the troll who created 2 different accounts to, I don't want to say harass my page, but astroturf my page, which is when you kind of create this inflated opinion based on bots and fake accounts and things like that. I'm going to share an update. Apparently, she's trying to come after me. He, she, they, whoever they are. All right, so Kira's response to a lot of the hate she got was this: unfazed, there she is. And a lot of questions have been begged since Kira's appearance on Bachelor, which is, can somebody who's a doctor also have a personal life? Hashtag Bikinigate. Now, the answer is an obvious yes, an obvious yes. Does her profession have anything to do with Joe's tweet? My guess is no. For those defending Joe's tweet, the main defense would be, well, she said in another life she wanted to be a porn star, and she did the whole, like, not porn star cosplay, but she did the crawling through the thing. They sexualized her, which is fine. You're allowed to be sexualized. My guess is she wanted to have that happen. She was part of the edit. That's perfectly fine. Joe's response saying that at least we know Kira is in it for OnlyFans leads some to question, are you shaming people that are sex workers? That's the main question. I don't know if that's the case with Joe, but of course, it's at least a blurred line in which people can come to that assumption. Come on, Joe, you should know better than this. Delete this tweet. You're calling an accomplished woman who works as a doctor a sex worker. Take this down and apologize for your poor attempt at a joke. She said she wants to be a sex worker? No, that's of course not what she said. She said, in another life, maybe I'd have been a porn star. Not the same. In another life, I'd have been the president. Doesn't mean it's something I want to be in this life. Sophie Ross said, shut up to Joe. Bachelor bitch said, should probably delete this one. If a woman is open about her sex life, clearly she wants to sell it. You're telling on yourself, Joe. Yikes, yawn, boring, deeply unlikable. Well, she did say she wanted to be a porn star. Why are the people in the reply so mad? So it's almost my thought that Kira wants to have this conversation, which is a good one to have, which is destigmatizing sort of this purity world that the healthcare profession should live under, which we'll get to in a second. But we do have other responses. The Batch Babe said, imagine going to Harvard and becoming a doctor of internal medicine and then going on Paradise to fight over a straight 6 and declare you wish you were a porn star. Of course, going to Harvard and your intellect and getting any degree really shouldn't affect any consensual thing you do on your personal time. Cassidy from Clayton season said, of course, she was shamed for having a friend with benefit before going on the show. Do you ever get tired of being an effing hater? Actual question. In a lot of the comments kind of were the same there. Love that you're coming for me and my education, says Kira. And I don't see that same energy directed towards Romeo or any other accomplished man. Well, I don't want to make this a gender thing, although you definitely could, because obviously women are scrutinized in a way that men aren't when they talk about sexuality and things like that. But I'm just trying to isolate it specifically to her being a doctor. And people said, hey, babe, you made a fool of yourself. Just take the L and move on. Even doctors are allowed to have a little fun. I'm sure Kira will be just fine with her medical career. So, yeah, absolutely doctors can just have fun. Here she is. She's, yeah, like she was written up in the Harvard magazine for her experience and all the, I mean, she's worked through through the biggest global pandemic of our lifetime. We made a video about this actually back in January 2022. Oh, Dave, you're so progressive. You're on top of the ball. Well, here's a couple clips from the video we made. When she came out of the limo, she was immediately sort of shamed for the way in which she cosplayed her being a doctor and wanting to kind of get sexual with Clayton.
So I'm a doctor and I'm here to give you your full body physical.
This is what doctors wear nowadays?
Now he knows what he's gonna get. Why buy the cow if you're already getting the milk?
Yeah.
Now, some people's concern, and I'll play your opinions in a second, some people's concern, it's not necessarily what she wore, but that she was cosplaying being a doctor. And of course, as we know, trigger warning, but there are several horrifying examples. Okay, so I got into this whole video. You can watch the whole thing if you want, if you didn't catch this, if you don't remember her from Clayton's season. But yeah, she talks about, we discussed kind of where she came from with her education. Pennsylvania health system. I work as a senior physician on a treatment team responsible for the care and medically complex patients with life-threatening illnesses. So she's smart. Okay, we got that. Now, there's other examples of people that literally got fired from their jobs for having part-time employment. We covered this one. New York City medic helped make ends meet with racy OnlyFans side gig, and then she was fired from being a medic. And by the way, medics barely make minimum wage. So it's like, you barely pay someone for being a, frontline healthcare worker, and then they try to do something on their side. Like, it just doesn't affect their employment. Now, you want to get into some sort of morality thing if you're a teacher. I think that's a separate issue. I think it would be very tough for teachers to also have OnlyFans, given the access that kids have to the internet. That's a whole different conversation. I'm sure there's plenty of progressive societies that say, hey, whatever, who cares? But, it's there is a question to ask here regarding her profession and the cosplay aspect, but I think the whole idea behind Bikini Gate is that doctors have been criticized for too long, especially in the social media world, for having a social life that others can see. And doctor in training for those not in the medical field, and I have a lot of thoughts on Kira's entrance. I was honestly quite shocked. A few years back, a hashtag started trending, #MedBikini, in response to a misogynistic and awful article that basically said doctors who post bikini pics on social media are unprofessional and should face consequences, or not be surprised if they were not hired or passed up for some fellowship opportunities. Obviously, really stupid. Doctors can post a picture on a beach if they want to. Thankfully, the hashtag took off in a big way, and the overwhelming response, at least with younger doctors, was supportive. To all the old white men in many of the top positions, though, not so much. It is very bold to go on a reality show in any patient-facing job. To show up as a doctor, a position of thousands of hours of education, studying, training, in a position of power too, Larry Nassar being one who famously abused his. Okay, so we talked about all of this. Yeah, so in this case, she's not making any sort of doctor cosplay situations happening, although the lab coat, whatever. No beef there, and of course, I'm not the judge and the jury when it comes to these issues. But I think Joe's tweet could have been left in the drafts. I don't know if it's demands any sort of cancellation that some people might want, but it is kind of like a yawn bad look. Now, okay, so I'm going to share with you. Okay, just to patch up this Kira story here. My only critique would have nothing to do with OnlyFans or porn stars or slut shaming. I just think she came off looking desperate, not because she was sexual, but because Romeo just wasn't that into her. That's all. From the edit we saw, maybe there was a different story. Maybe they had previously hooked up. Maybe he had been in Kira's DMs and Kira thought she had a chance. Maybe Kira thought that Jill was the desperate one. Either way, Romeo had to go up to her and be like, hey, just so you know, I'm going to go pursue Jill, and I'd like it if you didn't get in the way. And she was like, yeah, no problem. And then Kira immediately went up to Jill and caused drama. Look, people in the comment sections have said, hey, just because you work in the healthcare profession or have a degree from Harvard doesn't absolve you from any messiness. A lot of people that might be high achievers might be extra messy. Maybe they have crazy egos. Who knows what the case is, but it's a good example that, like, hey, she's allowed to be messy. We live in the dang United States of America, where you can go on a dating show, crawl around the beach on all fours, say you wish you were a porn star, and still be able to take someone's blood pressure. Okay, folks, now, in this other story, I got this note from from YouTube today. This is to notify you that we have received a privacy complaint from an individual regarding your content. Now, they didn't say that this person's in the right with their privacy complaint, which, by the way, if someone leaves a comment on my page, I am absolutely within my jurisdiction to share it and talk about it. So it's so funny. Like I said before, I just wanted to give you an update. Someone literally created separate accounts, were spamming every single one of my YouTube videos and other commenters asking me why I didn't make a video that I had already made. So they hadn't done their research, all these things, and then they laughed when I called them out. They never admitted to it. They just ended up deleting their accounts, and now I guess they're trying to I don't know, be on the right side of it. But, you know, I pride myself in calling out accounts that are garbage, that have garbage points of views, that are ignorant, that are not adding value to the space. Mosquitoes. These trolls, this person right here who creates separate accounts to say the same thing, maybe to inflate the message they're trying to say, these are the worst people on the internet, because they go to bed at night thinking they're doing the right thing when they're actually not. Because not only did I make the video, but it also wasn't 4 minutes long, and it was a very good conversation, and there's more videos to come regarding the very heavy topic. So anyway, that's just an update from there. And I actually got another funny comment yesterday. Reality Steve posted that we had an interview, which is a very good interview. Go check it out on his page here. And one of the comments, you know, there's always good comments, and I'm not here to read the negative comments to say that I'm sulking in them or anything, but someone commented on this. When I didn't like something Dave said, he made screenshots and blasted it all over the internet like a 5-year-old. My response to that was, well, that's right here. Refresh my memory. I'm sure you came off super entitled if I did that. I'll buy you a coffee if I'm wrong. So to that person, if they're still watching, show me the screen grabs I blasted everywhere. And if I was in the wrong, coffee's on me. Or there's situations like this where people post things so ridiculous, so hypocritical, so shamey, so cringeworthy that I share them with others, because guess what? People like to laugh at the comments. And I'm not saying someone who just has a bad take on something. I'm saying people that are wildly entitled, which exists online. And look, I could ignore it. That's fine. But it's just fodder for conversation for me. Someone else posted this. Well, it turned into his opinion channel. And screw what anyone else thinks. Examples: constant politics, religion, and Bible bashing, Trump bashing. Yeah, you're right. I do bash Trump. The guy who refuses to admit that the election was, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's exactly what I do. Absolutely. Says he's a Bernie progressive, yet only chooses to bash conservatives any chance he gets. Never heard any Biden bashing. I unsubscribed. I responded, that's exactly what it is. My opinion channel. We're talking about my opinions right now. It never turned into anything. Now, don't get me wrong. We call it Bachelor Nation News, but this is my channel. This is my information. This is what I want to share. If I want to talk about Bikini Gate, great. If I want to talk about a former Bachelor contestant that said they were going to storm the Capitol and then ended up going skiing, absolutely. That's what we're going to do here. And look, they have the right to unsubscribe. But share the DMs or share the screen grabs with me where I just didn't like your opinion. Chances are your opinion's trash and you needed to be called out for it. Welcome to the show, folks. We'll see you guys in a little bit. I'm on Patreon at patreon.com/DaveNeal. Bye, everybody.
You can't
handle the truth.
I love me some Dave Neal.
I don't care if you think I'm pimping for Dave.